And now we're encouraging and offering up, oh, an empty house means you can, and you're an illegal, an American citizen couldn't do this, of course. If you're illegal, you can go in there and just occupy it, and it's up to you to maybe get it back again. It's a really bad system, and unfortunately, that is what's going on. A lot of anger, people have died over this, and it's going to be worse. There was one clip on the internet where a Venezuelan was using it as a promotion. He says, you know what? If you go to America, if you find an empty house, they have a law that says you can just go in. And virtually that's happening. It's going in, and sometimes the owner gets into more trouble than the people who went into the house. So it's the whole breakdown that we have on justice system and the principle of laws. I think some of the massive problems we have with immigration now is the breakdown of the understanding of private property. Because when you allow people to come in and just march over your country, yes, they may go into our homes like they're doing now, but just getting into the things that the people here paid for, whether it's highways, hospitals, and schools and everything else, they come in, and our government actually prefers to treat them with a priority, and they get first takings in some areas, which is awfully ridiculous. Some states are a lot worse than other. Chris?
That's right, Dr. Paul. And it really amazes me that we're even talking about this. I mean, imagine a country that allows itself to be invaded. It's mind-boggling. Yet this is the country that we live in. And, ironically, the vast majority of what our federal government does is unconstitutional. They shouldn't be doing it. It's against the law. But they ignore the law, and they do it anyway because that's what they want to do. And nobody can hold them to account. But the one job that they do have to protect our borders, they're not even doing. They're not protecting against an invasion. This is a basic. If you're going to have states get together and form a federal government, this was one of the selling points, and they're just totally failing at it.
The people who promote this is policy. This is what they design. This is what they want. This is their goal. And it isn't like it's an accident and a lack of enforcement. It's a deliberate policy, and they enforce the policy.
Yes, the American colonies were formed under the idea of decentralized government, local government. There was this British government all the way across the ocean mistreating us. They're not here. They don't know what it's like to live here, and they wanted out because government has to be local. You can't have this far off government. Texas, look what just happened this week with Texas. There's this far off government in D.C. that's supposed to protect the border, and they're not. So Texas is now going to take care of itself. Those people in D.C. that are whining and dining, they're not in Texas. They're not dealing with it. They'll watch it on TV at most. So Texas has to deal with it themselves. And that's why this whole idea of global government is nonsense. You can't have your governing authority over in Brussels or in Switzerland. But the tyrants want that because they're shielded. They're not near you. You have no access to them. You can't get to them. You can't replace them. That's why they are so hungry for it. And that's why you hear the words deep state. That's who those people are. You don't even know who they are. They're wielding all this power against you, and you can't do anything about it. You don't even know who they are. And that's why it's called the deep state.
I think the states right now are just pushed around overly so from the federal government. But what are you going to do if the federal government is corrupt? We have a problem there. It's a philosophic about a basic understanding of what real liberty means to all of us.
We see throughout history there's a common human error that keeps repeating itself. We're living through it right now. And that's the idea that if you destroy everything, then you'll be able to build back your utopia on the ashes. This goes back to the Soviets, to the French Revolution. This keeps repeating itself, where people, they don't like what they see, so they figure, let's just destroy everything, and then we'll start over and build back better. Society is not built that way. It's not built from the top down. It's not built at all. It's not a bunch of dudes sitting around a table with a blueprint and they're going to implement their plans. Society flourishes first from moral principles. There has to be a common morality among the people first. That has to be adopted, because if you don't have that, then the rest doesn't matter. Private property, sound money, voluntary interactions. None of that happens if you first don't have that moral principle. Western civilization had a common moral principle. It was called Christianity. Our country, same thing. That was the foundation, and then everything else, private property. I won't hurt you, you don't hurt me. This is mine, this is yours. Let's come together and exchange voluntarily. Let's have sound money. Well, the destroyers look at this and they want to destroy it. So the first thing you do is you abandon all morality. All of it has to go. And then you start destroying. Private property is gone. Sound money is gone. Equality under the law is gone. You know, it all just gets peeled away, and they do destroy. The Soviets destroyed all the communists around the world and all those. They definitely destroyed, but guess what? It stays destroyed. They build absolutely nothing on top of the ashes. What has to happen is the people say, you know, these people are nuts. We need to start over with a moral foundation, and then you start building there. You know, this is what's happening to our country. Our morality has been flushed down the toilet, and everything else has followed. So we need to turn around first by respecting each other, our property, and then going from there.
Very good. You know, these things don't happen by accident. There are people who promote exactly what's happening because some of them write and admit we want chaos, because out of the chaos we can introduce this society of cultural Marxism. And Marxism, which means what we want is really equity, have everybody equal. You know, and they're talking about equal distribution of all goods and services, and they want to eliminate that people get ahead by having ability and earning their way. And I think that unless that changes and we have a better understanding of what the Declaration of Independence meant, what our Constitution meant, far from perfect, but I'll tell you what, we're drifting away from that perfection right now, and we're at a point now of anarchy. And like Chris mentioned, there is not only government laws that have to be challenged, but also the natural laws and the higher law has to be looked to, in which people have looked toward that system for hundreds, if not thousands of years, because people do know what's right and wrong, but they would like to blacken their minds out, and they are indoctrinated to think, well, you know, if people have something else, I have a right to take it from them. Oh, that's not stealing, and they become nihilists. They don't believe telling lies make a difference, and that's the type of system that we live in today.